Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome to Signals and Standards with Suzie, the show where we decode mixed messages, raise the bar, and serve up real talk with a side of empowerment. I'm your host, Suzie, your go-to for truth bombs, clarity, and the kind of tough love that gets you unstuck and back in the driver's seat of your life. Together, let's turn those signals into action. Welcome back to Signals and Standards with Suzie, the show where we ditch the drama, decode the red flags, and raise the bar on how we show up in dating, in relationships, and most importantly, with ourselves. I'm Suzie, your go-to empowerment coach, here to remind you it's not just about finding the right people, it's about becoming emotionally available for the kind of connection that doesn't leave you second-guessing your worth. Today's episode is a topic that is very important: emotional intelligence. Because that's the real relationship glow up. Because let's be honest, we've all spent way too much time twisting ourselves into emotional pretzels, trying to be enough for others. But real talk, emotional intelligence is the glow up. It's so empowering. It's what separates reacting from responding, drama from discernment, and surface level chemistry from deep, sustaining connections. Whether it's love, friendship, family, or even your job, emotional intelligence is that quiet superpower that changes everything. And today, we're unpacking what it actually looks like, how to build it, and how to spot it in others, and why it just might be the most attractive thing about you, and that's hot. So grab your tea, your coffee, your walk around the block headphones, whatever you need, because we're about to take your emotional game to the next level. So let's do this. Okay, so what exactly is emotional intelligence? And why does it matter so much in our relationships? Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, and to recognize, understand, as well as influence the feelings of others. It's the difference between reacting to something and responding thoughtfully, between spiraling out of control and self-regulating your emotions. And in relationships, it's the difference between connection that grows and a connection that implodes. The concept was popularized by psychologist and author Daniel Goleman, who broke emotional intelligence down into 5 core elements: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. So let's break it down. First one was self-awareness. So what that is knowing when you're about to spiral. So before you hit send on that 5-paragraph WTF text at 1 a.m., for example. Self-regulation is choosing not to hit send and instead sitting with the feeling, maybe even journaling about it, and asking what it's trying to tell you. What about motivation? Motivation is moving forward with intention, not because someone validated you, but because you trust yourself to keep showing up in the best ways possible, because you want to be better and do better for yourself. Empathy, it's about being able to say, I hear you, I may disagree, but I want to understand you. Oh, this is so important, especially in this day and age. Social skills, that's your ability to engage and navigate challenging conversations without turning everything into a battlefield. I guess emotional intelligence is something that we all need to think about this day and age, don't we? In the political and social and online world. Let's talk more about it. because we got to be honest, when things fall apart in dating or friendships or even any relationship, it's rarely just a compatibility issue. As I've written before, most breakdowns happen because one or both people haven't done the emotional groundwork. Emotional intelligence isn't just a nice to have, it's a must have for any interpersonal interactions you have with others. In fact, if someone doesn't know how to manage themselves, they'll make you feel like too much just because you ask for what you need out of the relationship. While that means different things for different people, that's really not your issue. It's a them thing. That's their lack of willingness or maybe even emotional capacity to show up for you how you need it. Emotional intelligence isn't something you can fake either. Charm might get you in the door, as they say, but with emotional intelligence, the house will collapse all around you. So let's look at what low emotional intelligence looks like in relationships. Someone with lower emotional intelligence may deflect instead of reflect. So how that looks is maybe blame shifting, finger pointing, rewriting reality to avoid accountability. Usually escalates instead of communicates. So they turn disagreements into arguments and calm dialogue into emotional warfare, like total gaslighting at its worst. Some may blame instead of owning their impact because taking responsibility would mean admitting imperfection. Most dangerously, they confuse love with control and connection with chaos. So the relationship becomes a roller coaster, not a place of peace. On the flip side, high emotional intelligence shows up in small but powerful ways, like when you hear things such as, "I was wrong and I'm sorry," or "That reaction wasn't about you. I was projecting something I need to deal with. Let's pause and revisit this when we're both more regulated. Your feelings matter, even if I don't fully understand them yet." Wow, imagine hearing that from people. It's not about getting it right all the time. We all make mistakes, but it's about having the awareness and humility to repair when things go wrong. Because the most emotionally attractive people, they're not perfect. They're present. They're accountable. They listen to understand, not to win the argument or discussion. From my own work and personal experience, I've seen it over and over again. Emotionally intelligent people make everything feel safer as well as calmer. You're not tiptoeing around them. You're not decoding mixed messages. You're not waiting for the other shoe to drop. Instead, you're seen, you're heard, you're valued. And who doesn't want that? So let's recap. When we talk about emotional intelligence or EI, or we hear EQ sometimes, it's really about two big things: how well you understand and manage your own emotions, and how well you pick up on the emotions of others. Psychologists say these skills, so self-awareness, empathy, emotional regulation, are often more important for success than your intelligence, than your IQ alone. Think about it. We all know someone who's brilliant on paper, but struggles to stay calm under pressure. Or that friend who can walk in the room and instantly ease the tension. That's emotional intelligence at work. In personal relationships, emotional intelligence is the difference between a fight that escalates and one that brings you closer. Psychology points out that when people lack EI, they often misinterpret emotional cues or respond defensively. For example, if your partner comes home stressed and you snap back with, "You're always in a bad mood," that's low emotional intelligence. But if you pause, notice the frustration and say, "Wow, sounds like today was rough," Want to talk about it? Or do you need some space? You create a connection instead of conflict. Those small but powerful shifts, listening, empathizing, and choosing your response, are what keep relationships strong and resilient. And at work, emotional intelligence isn't just a nice to have. It's what Harvard University calls a power skill. Leaders with strong emotional intelligence can motivate teams, reduce turnover, and even improve performance. Imagine a team meeting where a mistake is made. A manager with low emotional intelligence might lash out, leaving everyone discouraged. But a high emotional intelligence leader would calmly acknowledge the error, frame it as a learning opportunity, and rally the team to move forward. Harvard's research shows that professionals who consistently practice emotional intelligence through things like mindful pauses, journaling, and active listening outperform others because they're not just managing projects, they're managing people, including themselves. Let me make it plain. If you want deeper, more secure, more sustainable relationships, emotional intelligence isn't a bonus. It's the foundation. And the glow up? It's not your outfit, your timeline posts, how many likes your posts have, or how many people slide into your DMs. It's in your ability to say, I know who I am, I know what I feel, and I can handle my emotions without hurting others. That, my friends, is the real relationship flex. Let's take a quick breather here. Think of this as your moment to pause with purpose. Psychologists remind us that emotional intelligence always starts with self-awareness, and that means checking in with yourself before you react to the world around you. So ask yourself, what's one feeling you've been carrying today? Has it made you more patient? Or maybe a little quicker to snap? Just naming it is a powerful first step towards managing it. We've learned that research shows that when we take even small pauses to reflect, we actually strengthen our emotional regulation skills over time. And that's the heart of emotional intelligence. Recognizing what's happening inside so we can choose how we show up outside. And we're back after a moment to reflect and reset. Let's go into Real Talk with Suzie, where I answer your real questions about navigating relationships with emotional intelligence. Got a question you'd love me to tackle on the show? Head over to powercoachsuzie.com and send it my way. Here's our first question. I keep attracting emotionally unavailable people. What am I doing wrong? Let's take a deep breath and start here. You're not doing something wrong. You're repeating something familiar. Emotionally unavailable people often seem magnetic, not because they're the right person for us or our soulmate, but because they mirror some of our unresolved parts. The highs and lows, the guessing games, the crumbs of affection. They feel intense, but they're not intimacy. In fact, they're adrenaline. It feels great at the moment, but can quickly crash. As I've written before, if you're used to earning love through effort, presence can feel boring and dysfunction can feel like chemistry. That's really not your truth. That's trauma talking. Here's the shift. Instead of asking, why do I keep attracting these people? Ask, why am I available for them? Listen, you don't have bad luck. You make bad choices. I've been there. I know. Because people will show up as they are, but we get to decide who stays. Sometimes we confuse potential with partnership. We believe we can help someone develop emotional maturity through our love and devotion. But emotional availability isn't something you give to someone, it's something they build themselves. At least they should be. You can support someone through growth, but you can't rescue them from emotional avoidance. Don't try to be their savior or hero. Only you will suffer. So how do you break the cycle of choosing the wrong people for you? Well, you want to audit your patterns. Who are you typically attracted to? And who do you ignore? Are you drawn to people who are distant, inconsistent, or avoidant because they feel familiar or exciting? Up-level your standards. Start looking beyond surface level traits. Instead of asking if there's chemistry, ask, can they name their emotions? Do they take accountability for when they hurt you? Can they hold space for your feelings without deflecting? Reclaim your energy. Stop auditioning for love. You don't need to prove you're worthy of being chosen. You need to choose yourself first. As I always say, stop trying to water dead plants. If they can't meet you emotionally, they're not your soulmate. They're your signal to choose differently. This applies to friendships too. You're not attracting the wrong people. You're choosing them. And it's time to choose differently. This brings us to question number 2. How do I become more emotionally intelligent when I've always been reactive? This is such a powerful question, and I want to start by honoring and applauding your self-awareness. Asking this is the first step towards emotional intelligence. Most of us weren't taught how to feel. We were taught how to suppress, avoid, or perform for others. So your nervous system has learned to respond with fight, flight, or freeze. Emotional reactivity isn't a weakness. It's a defense mechanism, one that is conditioned over time. While it might have once protected you, it now keeps you stuck. Emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about learning how to listen to them and not live in them so that they don't define you. All that meaning that you have to live in your truth and your knowledge and your self-awareness, not in your emotions. Here's something that might help when your feelings are starting to overwhelm you. Feel it, but don't feed it. Notice your emotions like traffic signals. Red means stop. Yellow means slow down. Green means respond thoughtfully. You don't need to react to every feeling. You need to interpret it. Take a deep breath before making your next move, being mindful and thoughtful. Why am I thinking this way? Why am I having this emotion? It's really important to think about. You want to pause with purpose. So when something triggers you, take a breath. So you're going to ask yourself, as I said, what emotion am I experiencing? Is this emotion about the now, or is it a wound from the past? What does this emotion want to teach me? Not just tell me. This is the pause that builds your emotional intelligence. You want to also name it so you can tame it. Studies show that simply naming an emotion can reduce its intensity. So instead of saying, I'm freaking out, try saying, I'm feeling abandoned, or I'm really overwhelmed. Naming feelings gives your logical brain a chance to show up and regulate your emotions. You want to also practice self-soothing. What this looks like, journal, meditate, take a bath, walk it out, use a weighted blanket, you could text a safe friend. Do whatever reminds you that you're safe now, because you don't need to react like your past is still your present. The goal isn't to never react. The goal is to become a safe space for your own emotions so you don't lash out, shut down, or seek validation outside of yourself. You want healthy reactions to situations rather than ones that will set you back. At the beginning, it might be one step forward, two steps back, as they say, but keep walking with intention. You'll get where you need to be. Just don't give up. Remember, You're not too sensitive. You're becoming emotionally wise. That's not a weakness. That's growth. And that's amazing. Congrats. And here's our third and final question. My partner shuts down emotionally during conflicts. How do I get them to open up without pushing them away? Thanks for this question, because emotional shutdown isn't just frustrating, it's really lonely. It's like arguing with silence while drowning in your own overthinking. I've been around people like that, and it can definitely mess with you. So let's decode it. Emotional withdrawal. It's also called stonewalling. It's a form of self-protection. They're not punishing you. They're hiding in their mental cocoon. It often appears in people who were taught to avoid conflict at all costs. You know those who hide everything under the rug instead of dealing with it? Maybe they even grew up in homes where big feelings led to yelling, punishment, or neglect. So instead of engaging, they shut down, because in their nervous system, silence equals safety. But while their silence might protect them, it erodes their relationship with others. So what can you do? Lead with safety, not with shame. Instead of accusing, like saying something like, "You always shut down," try, "I know conflict is hard for you, but I want us to feel safe talking about what matters. How can we have a conversation that works for both of us?" Use timing to your advantage as well. Don't try to resolve deep issues in the heat of the moment. Ask, when would be a better time to chat about this? That creates a shared agreement. Instead of you pushing and them pulling away, it puts you on the same page and also creates a safe space. You want to get curious, not controlling. Ask open questions like, what do you feel when we argue? What makes it hard for you to express what you're feeling? Or maybe what helps you feel emotionally safe? These questions open dialogue without forcing vulnerability. However, and this is crucial, dialogue requires a willingness from both people. That's why it's dialogue, two people. If your partner consistently avoids conflict, never follows through on emotional conversations, and dismisses your needs, that's not just avoidance, that's emotional unavailability. And you deserve more than a relationship where you're the only one emotionally present. Because here's the truth. Emotional safety is a team sport. You can't build a connection alone. If you're always holding space and they're always hiding, it creates a one-sided emotional environment. And that leads to resentment, not a healthy relationship. So yes, approach gently, create space, invite, don't pressure. But also know this, you're allowed to stop shrinking your needs to avoid making someone uncomfortable, because emotional intimacy requires two people willing to show up, not perfectly, but honestly. And if they can't meet you there, it's not your job to drag them. It's your job to protect your peace. If you're in that position, seek out professional help. A therapist can help you navigate the situation. Remember, at the heart of all three questions is one powerful truth. Emotional intelligence is both a filter and a foundation. It filters out the people and patterns that drain us, like chasing emotionally unavailable partners or staying in one-sided conversations. And it lays the foundation for how we show up in every connection. Whether that's choosing healthier relationships, learning to pause before reacting, or creating emotional safety during conflict. Psychologists remind us that EI isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Those small shifts in awareness and response that add up to big changes over time. I've seen this play out in my own life. Years ago, I kept mistaking emotional highs and lows for love, telling myself that chaos meant chemistry. But once I slowed down, started naming my emotions, and raised my standards, everything shifted. I stopped auditioning for love and tolerating bad behavior and started choosing differently. That's the real lesson here. You don't have to get it right every time. You just have to get it right for yourself. When you honor your emotions, you stop repeating old patterns and you start building the kind of relationships, personal and professional, that reflect the love, respect, and presence you deserve. Let's take some time for a little reflection. I want you to pause and really ask yourself, am I showing up emotionally available to my own truth? Or am I making space for someone who only meets me halfway? Telling myself their silence, shutdowns, or mixed signals are a sign of love, when really they're a sign of avoidance. Sometimes we cling to potential because admitting the truth would mean raising our standards and making a choice we're not quite ready for. And that's okay. And it is pretty scary, isn't it? But here's a reminder. Inconsistency isn't love. It's not. It's actually confusion. Emotional intelligence is noticing it, naming it, and deciding that your peace matters more than chasing someone else's patterns. Take a moment to reflect on where you might be trading your peace for confusion. And now carry that energy into a short reflection. Go ahead, take a moment, think about it. Are you accepting inconsistency? Are you accepting people in your life that don't treat you like you should be treated or deserve to be treated? Think about it. We're going into my coaching moment, one client story that taught a big lesson about emotional intelligence. What happened in this session revealed a simple but powerful truth about emotional availability that everyone needs to hear. One of my clients said something to me that stopped me in my tracks. I always feel like I have to walk on eggshells. I'm so afraid of upsetting anyone. Sound familiar? They weren't just mentally exhausted. They were physically feeling the toll. Headaches, tension, sleepless nights, all from carrying the emotional weight of everyone around them. And here's the thing. This isn't weakness. It's not too sensitive. It's a nervous system that's been trained to protect itself, to anticipate the highs and the lows, the unpredictability, the people who don't show up fully. But here's what we uncovered, and it might hit close to home for some of you. They were confusing emotional intelligence with emotional caretaking. And let me tell you, those aren't the same thing. Emotional intelligence is saying, I am responsible for my own emotions and how I express them. I notice what I feel. I pause. I respond thoughtfully. Emotional caretaking is saying, I am responsible for how you feel, even if it costs me my peace. And guess what? That pattern is exactly how we end up attracting people who are emotionally unavailable or draining, because we've made ourselves available for everyone else while neglecting our own boundaries. We reframed it with a mantra, and I want you to hold this close. I can be kind to others without abandoning myself. From there, the transformation began. My clients stopped over-explaining. They stopped apologizing for saying no. They stopped shrinking themselves to make others comfortable. Instead, they started clearly expressing what they could not accept. Calmly, confidently, and without guilt. And the magic? The people who truly valued them, they leaned in. The ones who liked them for when they were easy to manage, they quietly drifted away. This is the essence of emotional intelligence in action. It's about tuning into your own emotions, naming them, and letting them guide you, not letting them dictate your choices or define your worth. It's about learning to pause before reacting, to notice patterns, to ask yourself, am I choosing this person, this behavior, this interaction because it truly serves me, if it helps me, or because it just feels familiar and comfortable? And it's about creating emotional safety for yourself first, because that's the energy that attracts the right people, the ones willing to show up fully. Here's the truth, dear listener. You are not here to shrink your voice. You're not here to tiptoe around someone else's discomfort or to even patch up emotional gaps that aren't yours to fix. That's self-erasure. You're here to rise in clarity, to communicate with compassion, and to let emotional intelligence be your guide back to yourself. And when you do, watch how your words change. Watch how your world even changes. People who are aligned with your energy meet you there naturally. No games, no mixed signals, no eggshells required. Here's how you can take this straight into your life starting today. First, take a real look at your patterns. Who are you drawn to? Who do you find yourself bending over backwards for? Or maybe over-explaining to? Awareness is step one. Notice without judgment. Write it down if you need to. Seeing it on paper can be a powerful wake-up call. You want to ask yourself, am I choosing people and situations because they truly serve me? Or because they feel familiar, comfortable, cozy, even if they leave me feeling drained and insecure? Next, practice pausing with purpose. Emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about noticing them, naming them, and responding thoughtfully. When someone triggers you, try this. Stop taking a deep breath and ask yourself what you're really feeling and why. Is it about now, or is it tied to an old pattern or experience? Then choose your response intentionally. You might speak your truth calmly, set a boundary, or maybe step back until you feel a little more grounded. Remember my mantra. You can be kind to others without abandoning yourself. Let me say it again. You can be kind to others without abandoning yourself. This isn't selfishness, it's self-respect. And the more you practice it, the clearer your energy becomes, and the more naturally you attract people who meet you on that level instead of those who leave you walking on eggshells. Before we wrap up today, here's your emotional intelligence challenge. Take an honesty moment. Think of one connection, romantic, platonic, or even professional, where you've been ignoring emotional red flags in the name of keeping the peace. Ask yourself, am I showing up with emotional intelligence, or is it emotional self-sacrifice? Be real about what's actually happening, not the fantasy you've been holding on to. Now choose one emotionally intelligent move. Speak your truth without guilt. Set a boundary without over-explaining, or let go, not from anger, but from clarity. Remember, emotional intelligence isn't about controlling how others respond. It's about mastering how you show up. Hold that thought as we move into our final affirmations and wrap up, giving you a chance to step into your power, reclaim your peace, and carry that clarity into every relationship in your life. So this is a wrap on this week's episode on emotional intelligence. If you want to level up your relationships, start with this truth. Emotional intelligence isn't just attractive, it's essential. It's the difference between repeating old patterns and creating connections that actually serve you. Imagine that. Whether it's in your dating life, your friendships, at school, at work, your professional relationships, emotional intelligence gives you the tools to pause before reacting. It gives you, some time to name your emotions and respond with clarity rather than reacting with habit. Let's not forget the most important relationship of all, of course, the one with yourself. When you practice emotional intelligence with your own feelings, you set the standard for how others can meet you. You stop shrinking, you stop apologizing for your needs, and stop watering down your truth to keep the peace. You reclaim your energy, your clarity, and your boundaries. And in doing so, you attract people who meet you fully, not partially. So here's the takeaway. Notice your patterns, name your feelings, and choose intentionally. Speak your truth without guilt. Let go without anger, and hold space for both yourself and others. Emotional intelligence isn't just a skill. It's your compass for navigating relationships with strength, compassion, and confidence. Lead with it, practice it, and watch how your connections and your life transform. So here's your affirmation for this week. Repeat after me. I honor my truth without guilt. I lead with clarity, not chaos. I choose emotional intelligence every time. Again, I honor my truth without guilt. I lead with clarity, not chaos. I choose emotional intelligence every time. Daily inspiration and one more time so you can write it down. I honor my truth without guilt. I lead with clarity, not chaos. I choose emotional intelligence every time. Remember, you got this. So next week, we're going to be diving into detoxing yourself from people-pleasing to reclaiming your voice in every relationship. You don't want to miss this one. For daily inspiration and practical advice, find me on social media at Power Coach Suzie. Got questions or ideas for the show? Head to powercoachsuzie.com where you can connect with me, explore the blog, or learn more about what I do. This is Suzie signing off. Until next time, keep reading the signals and never, ever lower your standards.